It was a quiet, moonless night when Sarah saw something she couldn't explain, something outside her window, moving in a way that wasn't human. But when her best friend Emma warned her to stay inside, the terror only grew stronger. What Sarah didn't know was that the house she thought was safe had become a trap, and whatever was lurking in the dark wasn't ready to let her go. Could it already be too late? Keep watching to uncover the chilling truth behind Sarah's nightmare and discover what happens when the shadows come alive. Sarah sat alone in her dimly lit living room, scrolling through her phone. It had been a long day, but something about the house felt off tonight. It wasn't just the usual creaks and groans of an old house, but something more, a chill that had suddenly crept in. She glanced at the clock, 2:13 a.m. Her friends had warned her about the strange happenings in this neighborhood, but she'd always brushed it off as superstition. Tonight, though, she wasn't so sure. Her phone buzzed, snapping her back to reality. It was a text from Emma. "Hey, I know you're up. Did you hear that noise? I swear I just heard something outside your window." A shiver ran down Sarah's spine. She hadn't heard anything, but now that Emma mentioned it, she was suddenly hyper-aware of the silence around her. The stillness deepened, as though the world was holding its breath. Sarah stood up, her heart pounding, and walked toward the window. As she peeked through the blinds, the faintest shadow moved across her yard. Her breath caught in her throat. The shadow wasn't human, it was too fluid. Sarah's pulse quickened, and she backed away from the window, nearly tripping over the rug. She immediately called Emma, her voice shaking. "Sarah? What's going on? Are you okay?" Emma asked, concern lacing her voice. "I just saw something," Sarah whispered. "It wasn't a person. It was moving in a way that wasn't normal." There was a long pause. "Sarah, listen to me carefully," Emma said, urgency in her voice. "Lock all the doors and windows. Don't open them. Whatever you do, don't let it inside." Sarah's heart raced. "What do you mean? What is it?" "I don't know for sure, but something evil is in your neighborhood. Something that hunts at night." The line went dead. Sarah stared at her phone, the sudden coldness of it sending a shiver through her. She couldn't call Emma back. She glanced at the door behind her, the faintest light peeking through from the hallway. This wasn't just fear, it was instinct telling her something was terribly wrong. Her hand trembled as she pushed a chair against the door. But it wasn't enough. She needed more. In a panic, she grabbed a knife from the kitchen, the cold steel offering a brief sense of security. But nothing felt right. Every creak of the house, every whisper of wind, seemed amplified, menacing. The house had become a prison. Then she heard its footsteps, slow, deliberate. Her heart stopped. Whatever it was had gotten inside. She wasn't about to wait to find out what it was. She sprinted to the back door and ran into the backyard, her breath coming in ragged gasps as she dove into the woods. The trees seemed to close in around her, their twisted branches scratching at her as she ran deeper into the darkness. She couldn't look back. She didn't dare. The footsteps grew louder, faster. It was closing in. And then she saw it. A figure, tall, thin, impossibly twisted. It didn't move like a person. It glided, shifting through the trees like smoke. The air grew colder as it approached, the moonlight flickering as though afraid to reveal the truth. Sarah wanted to scream, to run faster, but her legs were betraying her. The ground beneath her feet seemed to shift, refusing to let her go. "Sarah," a voice called. It was Emma's voice, but distorted, twisted as though coming from miles away. "Sarah, don't run. It's already too late." Sarah stumbled, the world spinning. She couldn't fight it anymore. The darkness was swallowing her. The last thing she saw before everything went black was the figure standing over her, its hollow eyes watching her with hunger, not pity. The next morning, Sarah's house was empty, untouched, quiet. But something had changed. The air felt heavy, as though something was watching, and in the distance, a shadow moved, just beyond the edge of the woods. Somewhere, deep in the woods, Emma's phone rang twice, but no one answered.